Hello, good morning. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Andrew Fleck Children's Services. We are so very excited to be here today with all of you. My name is Kim Hiscott. I'm the CEO. First, I would just like to acknowledge that we are located on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We respect and acknowledge the past and present contributions of all First Nations and Inuit and Métis people. It's very poignant that we are here today in this building because Andrew Fleck has a very rich history in the City of Ottawa, providing early learning and childcare. We were established in 1911 for the purpose of delivering early learning and childcare. So something that was a bit novel and unique. And at that time, Gertrude Fleck and many of the other prominent Ottawa citizens really wanted to respect and value children and the state of childhood while recognizing that for some families, they did need to work. And so in 1932, she donated the money needed to be able to buy the land and constructed this building, a purposely built building for early learning and childcare in 1932. It just demonstrates how much of an impact an investment can have. Can you imagine how many children and families have walked through these doors? And the foundation that having this space here in Ottawa, right down in the downtown core, has set up for us as an organization, as a charity, as a not-for-profit, that was particularly important and that we really value is that in the deed, when Gertrude Fleck bequeathed the building to the agency, she put in it that forever and a day, in perpetuity, this building needed to be used for early learning and childcare. So very, very forward thinking, with a little bit of a caveat that if ever the board of Andrew Fleck deemed it necessary to sell the building, because, you know, you can't completely think of the future, that the money, the proceeds from selling this building would need to be used to create additional childcare elsewhere in the City of Ottawa. So what an investment. And I think it really just highlights when we invest in children and families, we impact not only the current people, not in the current children, but we also impact the generation in the future. And it's something that we should be very proud of as Ontarios, as Ottawas, and as Canadians. So I would like to introduce Minister Fortier, please, to come and say a few words.
Well, thank you so much. Bonjour tout le monde. How are you? Whoa, okay. The kids were more excited to see me when I saw them this morning. Ça va bien tout le monde? Ça me fait un grand plaisir d'être ici, and thank you so much for being in Ottawa, Vanier, Gloucester this morning. Je voulais aussi prendre le temps de reconnaître que nous sommes situés sur le territoire de la nation algonquine Anishinaabe et remercier les communautés autochtones qui vraiment préservent notre territoire. And I want to recognize the visit of Patty Hadju, the minister here in the riding. Thank you so much for being here today. I know you live in Marini. Did you get my latest mail? Oh, well, no. So we're going to work on that next year. I do want to say hello to my friend, Minister Paul Calandra. Thank you for being here. Last time we saw each other was in Orléans, so I'm glad that you're in the National Capital Region. We love when you come because it's good news. Also my friend and neighbor, Yasser Nagvi, Ottawa Centre, represent. I also want to recognize Annie Koutriakis, who is my good friend and also Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister. Thank you for being here today and getting out of the parliamentary precinct to say, you know, Ottawa, we are a community and we have lots of families. I also want to thank Alex Holland for being here today. You know, for families across Canada, high quality, affordable, flexible, and inclusive childcare is not a luxury. It's a necessity. And I forgot to recognize Stéphanie Plante, who's counselor for Rideau Vanier here. And we actually work really hard together to get more places here, spaces for childcare. So merci d'être là aujourd'hui, Stéphanie. And I'm so proud to see how investing in early learning and childcare is truly making a difference for families across Ontario, but especially here at home in Ottawa. And I'll take 2 minutes. We just, we door knock a lot in this community. Et une des choses que les parents me disent le plus, c'est qu'on a besoin de plus de place. Pour les garderies, and that is something that I really am hearing from families. So I know that in Ottawa, it's something that is very, not just popular, but very important. Vous savez, ce programme change les choses et rend la vie plus abordable. Les familles en bénéficient, nos communautés en bénéficient et même l'économie canadienne dans son ensemble en bénéficie. L'apprentissage et la garde des jeunes enfants font partie du plan économique du Canada. Lorsque nous investissons dans nos enfants, nous investissons dans l'avenir du pays. The federal government remains focused on empowering Canadians. We're lowering costs, expanding opportunity, and protecting the vital programs Canadians rely on, from childcare to dental care to pharmacare. We're privileged to work with the partners like the Province of Ontario. Thank you again, Mr. Calandra, to be here. And we look forward to continuing to work together to build our shared vision for an affordable, flexible, and inclusive early learning and childcare system. Ensemble, nous améliorons la vie des familles en Ontario et nous donnons à nos enfants les meilleures chances de réussir. Alors, j'aimerais maintenant inviter ma collègue, la ministre Patty Adju, de vous parler un peu plus de quelle est l'annonce aujourd'hui. Merci, Nakumik. Miigwech, thank you for being here.
Merci, Mona. Je suis aussi très heureuse d'être ici avec vous. Et thank you so much, Paul. We've been working really hard on this announcement today over the last number of months, and our teams have really rolled up their sleeves, and we've arrived at this announcement today. Mona, thank you always for championing inclusivity and for telling us all about your riding. Mona's a fierce champion for her riding, and so she's not anyone to take lightly when it comes to the needs of her of her riding. And I'll leave it at that. I always say persistence is a very good quality. Yes, Yasser made a mistake, but he is my MP when I'm in Ottawa. And thank you so much for all of your leadership on this file and the work that you've done over the years as well in many different files. To Kim and Laura, thank you for allowing me to spend a few moments with the children this morning. I am a grandmother in waiting, I like to say. Long waiting at this point. But, politics teaches you patience, and so it's a privilege always to come to. This is a real highlight of my job, and my new job as Minister of Jobs and Families is to be able to come and speak to families and meet children and just see how this early learning and childcare system is growing across the country. I was really taken by the story of Madam Fleck's donation years ago, and I didn't know that story before I came here. And I thought about something that happened in 2015, which was that the then Prime Minister, who had just been newly elected, announced that he would create a gender-balanced cabinet. And at the time, it was the shot heard around the world. It was really actually quite uncommon. Lots of mocking in some cases around, like, why, and were these women qualified enough? Although I will note that people don't ask that same question in non-gender balanced cabinets. But what I found over the last 10 years as being one of those women appointed to cabinet and working with so many colleagues across the floor, all across the country, is that it isn't that women do politics any differently. Quite frankly, we're just as feisty as male politicians. We have just as many battles. We're just as ferocious, and we're just as good, or in some cases not as good. That's the way that politics works. But the difference really lies in how we see solutions to longstanding problems. And partly because we have been the primary caregivers for a very long time. I mean, women have carried that role, and it's great to see dads step up. Things like adding parental leave, use it or lose it measures in parental leave for fathers really does actually accelerate fathers to take a more active role in parenting. But primarily it's still women who provide that care, and primarily it's still women who pay the price when they are providing that care solo in many cases and stepping out of the workforce. And I had a number of conversations with parents and educators here today about just how meaningful it is to them, people that are able to continue to participate in their chosen career path, not lose necessarily the wages, but it's more than money. It's also about the career trajectory. And the gender economists tell us this, that we lose so much in terms of productivity when people step out of the workplace because they have to. Now, look, some people choose to stay home, and I celebrate that too. And I think in my heart of hearts, I might have chosen that if that had been available to me. But that's the other reality, is that it's not available to the majority of families that need to remain in the workforce to continue to pay for their lives. So we pursued the development of early learning and childcare system 4 years ago. The goal is to lower costs for families across Canada, to help families get ahead, financially. It's also, I think, a very foundational economic policy for the country, because we see the highest rate of women in the workforce in our history. And as we talk about building big things across the country, we're talking about major projects and working in partnership with provinces like Ontario and others. Actually, the foundation of all that work is childcare. If we can't actually take care of our children, even if you are the crane operator in the case of my son, and you're maybe going to a job site for 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks, it's very hard to do if there's not quality childcare for your partner who's staying at home. And so I see childcare as an economic driver for our country, something that we need if we really do want to build Canada strong. And so this announcement today really builds on that. It's about 900,000 children that are benefiting from affordable childcare across the country. 8 provinces and territories are delivering regulated early learning and childcare for an average of $10 a day or less, while in other jurisdictions, fees have been reduced by 50% or more. And Ontario's announced about 41,000 new childcare spaces as of June 2025, which is a huge step towards their goal of 86,000 spaces by the end of 2026. So thank you to your team for working so hard on that. On January 1st, 2025, the Government of Ontario capped licensed childcare fees at a maximum of $22 per day. So we're getting there in Ontario towards $10. We have some more work to do, and we have some more conversations to have, but this is a huge savings. Let's be clear. This saving represents up to $10,400 per year per family. That's incredible, really. I mean, if you think about the raises that you might get in your job site, 4% or 3% or whatever's negotiated, it in many cases won't come near $10,400. And that's, a net savings as well. And so it's an amazing tool for families to invest in themselves, just spoke to a parent whose, family is not only working but starting a new business, to be able to have the breathing room to become the entrepreneurs, the business owners, the workers all across the country. So I'm very pleased. Ce système est tellement nécessaire que nous nous sommes engagés à le maintenir en place. So I'm very pleased today to announce that we are extending the Canada-Ontario Canada-wide agreement until March 31st, 2027, including the final year of ELCC infrastructure funding. So Canada will provide under this agreement to Ontario more than $3.9 billion, and this will continue to support the high-quality childcare that we're seeing right here today in places all across the province, flexible, inclusive. It was really great to meet some of the early learning educators here at Andrew Fleck. It provides support for good paying jobs and the attraction of people to this very valuable work. Ontario will also receive an advanced allocation of $695 million in 2026-27 to help stabilize childcare fees and keep current fees at an average of $19 per day while we work on a longer agreement. And this is in addition to more than $12 billion that's been allocated under the initial early learning and childcare agreements back in 2017. Chaque nouvelle place offre à plus de familles la liberté de décider comment équilibrer travail, études et vie familiale. For me, as a parent, I can tell you that years and years ago, when I was a parent and became suddenly single and qualified for subsidized childcare, that it was a game changer. I wouldn't have been able to stay in work. I wouldn't have been able to pursue further education if I hadn't had quality care with educators that I trusted at an affordable rate. And so that's the story of so many families across this country and across Ontario. This is freeing up choice for families, it's freeing up money for families, and it's allowing people to pursue their dreams and help build Canada strong. Merci beaucoup à tous. Et maintenant, le ministre Calandra.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bon matin. Merci. C'est avec grand plaisir d'être ici avec vous tous ce matin, Madame la Ministre, le secrétaire parlementaire. So I'm not a grandfather in waiting, but my kids remind me that I look like their grandfather because there's a lot less pepper in their hair than there used to be. So I want to thank you. I was a federal member here, and the people retired me in 2015. I used to live right here on George Street, and I had a 10-day-old at home and a 2-year-old at home. And when I was elected, and my wife reminds me every single day that I got elected when I had a 10-day-old and a 2-year-old. But I will say this, you're absolutely right, Minister. It was a game changer for our family. At the time, we were paying $1,800 back in 2008, $1,800 a month for our kids to be in care. But it was about the difference it made in their lives as well. I say this without hesitation. Our kids learned. They were better prepared when they did go into the system. They were able to socialize better, and it really was a game changer that helped them when they started on their educational journey. I like what you said about women in politics. I can attest that the minister is fierce in her expectations, and that's a good thing. This is a significant investment that the federal government is making in childcare across Canada, but especially in the province of Ontario. And as I said, it might have taken a touch longer, but there is a lot going on in this country right now. A lot of it not of our own making, but through all of that, we were able to come to an agreement. As I said, the minister is fierce in her expectations of what she expects from the province of Ontario, and we will come through with what she has asked of us, because I think it is important that we do, and because we've made that commitment. But at the same time, I have to commend and thank the minister, because once we were able to show and provide the appropriate data, not their fault, really frankly our fault. We have a different system in Ontario. We work through service managers, so the ability to get data, I'm kind of getting in the weeds, is very, very difficult. It's very difficult. But once we made that position known, the minister was fast, fierce, and ferocious. I think even with your own cause, am I allowed to say that? And securing the extra funding that we're announcing today, and the maintenance of a program that really is a game changer. And, you know, my notes say all kinds of things about the spaces that we're creating and all that. We're going to create those spaces. We're going to do right by the program. But I just want to thank all of you for the very hard work that you do. He's here somewhere. One of my assistants has 2 kids. And as we were coming in, we noticed one of the parents who was just leaving, and she had a really big smile on her face. And I said, look how happy she is. And he, without hesitation, said, it's because she just dropped off the kids. So, but as I was reminded, it's because they got dropped off at a place where they're going to learn and do much better. So just in closing, again, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Minister. As I said, we've had a really good working relationship, and it is very good to know what is expected. And also that once you have that expectation, that if you're able to fulfill that your end of the bargain, that there's a minister who will also work very hard on her end to make sure that the support is there. So thank you again very much. Thank you to all of you. And this is a very good announcement, a game changer. It means so much for parents. It means so much for families. It means so much for our communities. And without all of you providing the service, we wouldn't be here. And thank you to our friends on Ottawa City Council as well. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Laura St. Cyr. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Minister Calandra. Thank you so much, Minister Hudja, and thank you, Parliamentary secretaries, and everybody for coming here this morning and taking the time from your day. So my name is Laura St. Cyr, and I have the honor of serving as chair for Andrew Fleck Children's Services. Today is a moment of progress for families and a monumental and milestone day. So on behalf of our entire board, thank you very much for coming today. Andrew Fleck Children's Services has a very deep and personal meaning to me. Andrew Fleck is my great-great-great-granduncle. And I have a philosophy in life that when looking forward, we have to look back. Doesn't mean we do things the same. It means we learn and we grow, much like the children that are here today. When you walked in, you probably passed a very old, maybe you didn't notice, but perhaps take a moment as you walk out, safe in the corner of the room by the front door. That safe was donated by another relative of mine, Ken Fleck, a cousin, and I use that as a symbol that we are here to safeguard the investments for the future and for the children that are here, for the families and for our community. So when you do depart today, please take a moment to look at the safe and recognize that the legacy, the benefactor, Andrew Fleck, the safe which was his father's in the business community in Ottawa, Alexander Fleck. Take a moment, recognize that, and please also pat yourselves on the back and thank one another for the great growth steps and accomplishments that you are here participating in, and the legacy that this organization has served within the community in terms of generosity, in terms of care, and in terms of growth for the future. As a mother, I have experienced what it's like to have over $3,000 a month going towards 2 children in childcare. As a business owner, I launched my business at the beginning, relaunched it at the beginning of the pandemic with 2 kids at home, struggling through the transition to junior kindergarten, coming out of daycare services, and I can tell you that in the day-to-day actions where I speak to my clients about financial planning, investments, savings as an advisor, that this is transformational to the families, transformational to the education of the children, and absolutely makes a difference within our business communities as well. Yesterday I spoke to a client who is a farmer, works in agricultural space, and they expressed how elated they were to have finally secured a childcare spot that is subsidized, and as a result are now able to launch 2 more components to their business because they will not have to have just the time staying at home with the child, and they'll have some opportunity to continue to grow. So whether you are in the city with a new business, whether you are working within the corporate sector, whether you're out on a farm in Ontario, this is making a transformational business and difference, and I hear it day in and day out. So we look forward to continuing to serve both the province, the feds, our country, and our community in our role in safeguarding early learning and the investments in children in Ottawa. And I thank you all so much for coming together and making this possible. I'm going to introduce my fellow board member, Alex Holland, to come up.
Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you to everyone for being here today. It's always such a pleasure as a board member to have officials come and visit. It really, as you were saying, Minister Haidu, it really puts in perspective the announcement today and the families and parents that you met on your way in. I think they all echoed the sentiment that this will be transformative for them and the childcare they'll be able to receive and what it means for their family budget. So I am actually a board member of Andrew Fleck because I'm a parent of 2 children at Andrew Fleck. So I have an 18-month-old in a toddler program and my 4-year-old who went through Andrew Fleck from infant to preschool and now is in an extended daycare program as well. So I became so passionate about this organization that I joined the board. And Kim and all of the staff here have made me just a passionate advocate for early learning and childcare as well. I was really fortunate that my son started at Andrew Fleck right as Seawalk was coming online, and I can tell you how transformative that was for our personal budget. And to Laura's point, it was the talk of the playground and daycare about how much of an impact it was making on people's lives. I hear much less from friends and family about people having to consider stepping back from the workforce and talking instead about how transformative this has been and what they'll be able to do with this extra money in their household budget every month. I think you probably heard a collective sigh within the province of Ontario with this announcement today as parents are reassured about the extension. So a big thank you for all of the work that went into this. And I'll say as well, one thing that everyone has touched on here today, but it's not just about access to early learning and childcare, but it's also about the quality of the childcare that we see. Minister Calandra, you said this. My son, as he entered JK this year, was just so much more well prepared and confident going into a school environment because of the skills that he gained through Andrew Fleck. A personal thanks as well. My daughter has become much better at using a fork in the last couple of months. It's been transformative in our household. But you see the social skills that they develop. Her verbal is just skyrocketing in the last couple of months since she's been in a toddler program at Andrew Fleck. So this has been, as I said, I can't overstate the impact to my family personally, but also to see the continued ongoing work of an organization like Andrew Fleck has just been transformative within Ottawa as well. So I'm pleased now to turn over the mic to my MP as well, Yasser Naqvi, and I found out as well, alumni of Andrew Fleck, and there are 9 Andrew Fleck sites in your riding as well. So big supporter, and thank you for all of your support over the years. I'll turn it over to Yasser.
Well, thank you very much, Alex. And yes, I'm standing here not as a local politician, but as
Well, that was definitely not what I meant to do. Or definitely not.
Yeah, thank you for that. It is obviously still our goal to get to $10 a day, but there is more work to be done with respect to additional spaces that are required.
Yeah.
Of the program and the dollars behind it also allows
Sorry about that.
Our partners to begin the process of acquiring more spaces. And then on the workforce side, we have to balance new spaces with ensuring that we have the workforce to cover the new spaces that we have. But as I said, the minister has made it very clear what the expectations are behind the federal dollars that are coming our way. And although we're at, I think on average now about $19, capped at 22, correct? On average 19, but it is still our intention to make it to $10 as soon as the funding and the staffing and the space allows us to do so.
My second question is for you as well. There are still a number of parents on wait lists looking to access
Yeah.
a $22 average space.
Yeah.
When it comes to the creation of those spaces, what is sort of the biggest barrier that the province faces in getting those spaces created?
Yeah, I think it's a few things. If I'm being honest, in some parts of the province, the Greater Toronto area, it's the ability to find affordable space. Frankly, the costs of rents are certainly much different in some of our larger cities than they are in others, in some of the smaller communities. But there's also a challenge on the staffing side. Right, so we have to do more on the staffing side, but the infusion of federal dollars now and the certainty that comes, I know it's a huge relief for parents, obviously, because it really is a game changer for parents, but it is also a relief for those service providers who now can go out, find those spaces, and we can continue to make those investments on the staffing side so that we can meet that demand. So the minister was very clear. She expects Ontario to meet their obligations that we've signed off on with respect to space creation, and we'll get that done, and then we'll work on getting ourselves on path to $10 a day as well.
Hi, good morning, everyone. David Thurton, CBC News. This question is for Minister Hayu.
All right, we are going to forego the questions here. I just wanted to get this out there. Federal and Ontario governments extending the child care agreement. If you have any thoughts or whatever on this, you might want to leave them in the comment area. If you have any suggestions for us, you might want to leave them in the comment area. And we will be back. You have a good morning.